So I met him back in Cali, San Francisco, Bay Area, uh, in high school. When it was like moved there when it was what 15 something, 14,
90,
15, 90,
90 what? 92?
90, 91, 92, something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
How you know their age?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're calculated.
Okay, that's how I met him, and then he's the one who introduced me to hip hop music. So I was rock and roll back then, and then I saw him like doing
I'm
DJ
still rock
stuff.
and roll too, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I saw him doing DJ stuff. I'm like, oh shit, that's cool, man. That's cool. So I just want to learn and how to do it and shit. And then the music just like took me like, oh shit, this music's cool, man. It's nice. It's nice. So I'm listening to the lyrics and the beat and stuff like that. It kind of took me away from from Thailand. Like I kind of like changing a little bit. And then,
Got into the culture,
and then I understand more and more, and I learned more about it, and I fell in love in it. There was
Went
the
to some
town.
gangster shows, people shooting each other. So he experienced hip hop firsthand, Went to Marin City, ghetto part of.
That was the first time that hip hop is getting bigger, like
Yeah,
like the
that's
90s.
like, we went to the same high school as Tupac. So Tupac graduated, and I got in as a freshman. So it was, the vibe was like he was the hometown hero, and I know his cousin, and stuff like that, and then he get to experience that firsthand. Which is, I kind of, give me a reason why, like, we grew up hip hop. That's why we like every breath we take or every move we make is always gonna be hip hop because we were there, to see it happening. I was there when Tupac was getting shot in the ghetto. I wasn't right there watching him, but I was there. So it was we kind of grew up in one of the pages of hip hop history book.
I was American born Thai kid. I mean, being around, I grew up with hip hop just because it was everybody was listening to it, and it was the golden era, the '90s. So, I grew up listening to. I started when Wu-Tang, Biggie, Mobb Deep started really getting into it. LL Cool J, and it was the kind of like the cool thing to be into. But then I really enjoyed it where I did my research. I would get whatever, read about whoever and just study it, and I was really into it. I wasn't into the making music part, but I was enjoying it, of just listening, being a fan of it. And until I was 16, my parents sent me back to Bangkok, and had the opportunity of that's when I met Khan, and Khan was already doing this thing, and they had their home, they had their studio. Khan was doing this thing, but then he would come home to the studio and do shit that he loved, and it was very, it was like me, a young kid, like finding myself, like, oh shit, that shit is cool. I remember writing my first rhyme. I couldn't rhyme on beat to save my life. and and it was just like, but it was just, I kept working on it. At first I would write in English and throw in some Thai here and there until I started enjoying actually learning how to make music or write music and write verses. So that's how it came about for me.
Around 1997, I was looking for a name that would represent a group of people more than a group, like a group. I wasn't thinking about forming a hip hop group and use that name. I was thinking about
A
more like
movement.
a crew, a movement. So I was thinking, it has to have a Thai word in it. Something Thai, something Thai, something Thai. I was just sitting around thinking about, what name would be good for us. And one morning I just got up and just Thaitanium. And then I was just trying to find a reason around it, like, why Thaitanium? It sounds good, it sounds good, it sounds good. And then, hey, spell it Thai, Thai, and you know, titanium is a, you know, it's a metal, a strong metal, you know, unbreakable. You know, that's kind of show the unity of Thai people. You know, that comes together and want to do something good, and you know, and nothing can break us. So that's the meaning of titanium, pretty much.
Well,
The whole thing, pretty much.
we're older, so the thought process is a little bit more matured, and the music has definitely matured. It's definitely uh, gone in different directions and enabled us to write, I think, differently too with this album, because you know, we used a lot of production from Khan in the past. This time still using production from Khan, and also other people from the States and New York.
Well, as far as production-wise, it's just totally different because, you know, I mean, I'm in charge of the picking out, you know, some songs and beats and stuff, you know, because I've been going back to New York a lot to just connect with people, just go to studios and just, you know, work with different producers, which we never done, you know. This is the first record that we actually record in a real studio, right?
Yeah, usually we record in our home studio.
In New York, you know, and the quality just, you know, I would say triple. That's it. So this album, we it's the first album that we actually invest.
Yeah.
Invest
We had
a
lot. We had a big budget for this album. Consider on our terms, you know.
Consider Thai record
Yeah.
is very big budget, you know.
And our first time recording in Thailand, because most of our albums, you know,
Writing in Thailand.
Like we had to, like for a while, we had to catch a vibe, the vibe of writing, sitting down and actually writing the album, because usually we're in New York, and you know, we're away from everybody, and like being just locked up in the house, the three of us, and just writing.
The home of hip hop. So,
but now it was like we moved to Thailand. We recently based ourselves in Thailand within the past 5 years, and we didn't have that spot in New York anymore. So it was kind of hard to really. It wasn't hard, but it was in the beginning. It was like we had to find that spot where we could all come together, because now we all live different lives, where we're still in each other's lives, but we don't live with each other anymore. So the music, you know, it would have to be like we had to really adjust ourselves to get together and actually sit down and do music.
Yeah. So well, that's why we built the studio.
You're familiar with RAS, Resisting Against the System, our second album. The mood and tone of this album is called Still Resisting. So the mood and tone was similar to that album, but definitely more grown. So it was like kind of like part 2 of that album. This album is part 2. So we took it back to that from that state of mind, but you know, made it, you know, present day.
So people ask me like, why 22 songs? Why? Like, well,
It'd be crazy.
and I was like, okay, we haven't put out an album like 5 years, right? So if you don't know this, it's been 10 years, and it's our 10-year anniversary. So yeah, this album is our 10-year anniversary album. It's
So
limited.
we were just like, forget it. We're just gonna, you know, do all the songs that we
And
feel
I think we enjoyed being back in the studio too, and it was like just coming to the studio every day and just say what song we working on next, and then sitting there writing with each other again, and then going back and forth. Oh, I got this verse, or this verse, and it's actually we caught the vibe.